The latest of the madness. Stanford University bans long list of harmful, in quotes, words. Stanford University bans long list of harmful words. I've been noticing lately that when I try to, share my recordings, certain platforms will cite my posts, flag me doing something wrong, and I didn't really. I guess I don't read terms and conditions because, well, damn. Look at they don't are you really meant to read those things? They say you need an attorney to deal with these. Okay, if you need an attorney to deal with these, then we ought not deal with these, do we? Because I mean, they make these rules and they change these rules. In my lifetime, I was forced to learn words from a dictionary. Forced. This language forced on us. Our mother tongue was not English. That was forced on us. My mother was forced to learn Latin. She was prideful about that. Not me. My island is French, English, African, indigenous. I mean, we have soup for language. That's how they take us away from our roots. But nowadays, whomever is there at Stanford, what is their reason for this? It looks like it's a lot to do with the alphabet community. I see LGBT all over this. Let's start with, you cannot say transgendered. Well, that's something I learned early on. No one had to teach me that because I observed the patterns of speech. And the transgender people never called themselves transgendered, but people describing them or discussing them would use the word transgendered. So you don't say transgendered, you say transgender. This term avoids connections that being transgender is something that is done to a person and or that some kind of transition is required. Yeah, whatever. Transsexual, unless used medically. So you can't call someone a transsexual unless if used medically. Now that's, to me, that's nonsense. But hey, let's follow Stanford because, Stanford is setting standards somehow. Transgender person is what you say instead of transsexual. You say transgender person, you say trans or non-gendering conforming folk. This term has historically been used as a slur against LGBTQ plus people, some in the community, to identify with and self-describe as a term, though. You see, this shit is just ridiculous. There are people who still call themselves these things that you say don't call them. So are you going to prevent them from identifying themselves and labeling their own selves? Well, apparently that's the way society works. You guys, folks. So instead of you guys, you're supposed to say folks, you're supposed to say people, and you're supposed to say everyone. Because you guys lumps a group of people using masculine language and or into gender binary groups which don't include everyone. Please. This is so nonsensical. Freshman. Well, for freshmen, don't say freshman, say frosh. Say first year student. Oh my gosh. Lumps a group of students. If you use freshman, it lumps a group of students using masculine language and or into gender binary groups that don't include everyone. Gentlemen. Instead of gentlemen, say everyone. Lumps a group of people using masculine language and or into F you. Don't say guys. Say folks, say people, and say everyone. Now, their reason for changing the word guys to folks, people, and everyone is because this term reinforces male-dominated language. So I guess that's coming from the feminists. Who knows, right? Lesbians? I guess so. But I think the trans have a lot to do with it as well. And I'm speaking specifically male to female trans. I don't do female to male trans even give a shit about all this nonsense. You hardly even hear them anyway. It's like, it seems like the female to male trans are the ones cleaning up all the messes left by the other LGBT people. He, don't say he, say person's name or say they. Even if it's one person, it's okay to call them they. You see how these people are? Unless you know the person you're addressing uses he as their pronoun, it is better to use they or to ask the person which pronouns they use. Kiss my butt. Hermaphrodite, referring to, what is hermaphrodite refers to usually in this language. Okay? We're going by, and in this case, I'm going to agree with this, okay? An intersex person, you don't call them hermaphrodite, you call them intersex. This term has historically been used as a slur against LGBT people. And I'm going to have to agree with this one. Although hermaphrodite is seldom used in today's language, so, they're reaching. Do not say fireman or firemen. You say firefighters. And I'm not going to tell you the reason why again, because we're going to come back into more of this LGBT. It lumps a group of people using masculine language and into gender binary groups, which don't include everyone. I don't want to have to keep repeating this nonsense. So I'm just going to say the word like freshman, and you are supposed to say frosh or first year student. Gentlemen, don't say gentlemen, say everyone. Don't say guys, say folks, people, everyone. Don't say have the balls to, say bold or risk taker. Somebody complained, they said, what do you mean? Don't say balls, balls are weak, ovaries, say over. What the hell? But so you're going back into this gender. Don't say he, say the person's name, or say they. Because, he can be they, but he can't be him. Because he might be a shim. Get the hell out of my face with this. Instead of preferred pronouns, what the hell is wrong with these people? Are dictators. They're dictators. I bet you they're a bunch of pussies with dicks. Preferred pronouns. Instead of preferred pronouns, which I've never used, but now they're saying instead use pronouns. Piss off. Instead of balls to the wall, consider using accelerate efforts. Good heavens. The context attributes personality traits to anatomy. Good Lord. Ballsy, bold, risk taker. So instead of saying ballsy, say bold or risk taker. Context attributes personality traits to anatomy. So if I'm ballsy, if I'm said to be ballsy, it's not right because I'm a woman and I don't have balls. That never bothered me before. In fact, it showed that I really did have some balls. Please. Do not say congressman or congresswoman. I never use those terms because I don't deal with politics. But instead of those, you say congressperson or legislator. I hope my mic not popping upon me. Fireman, firewoman, firefight. They don't even have firewoman there, it's firemen and firemen. Gentlemen. Don't say that. Say everyone. Gender-based language includes a range of words and phrases that are not helpful and in many cases are exclusionary. Some people may not mind having the terms applied to them or even prefer having the term used. It's always preferable to ask a person how they want to be addressed instead of making assumptions. Now, before you all came along and murked up the water, we never had these issues, right? We really didn't. It's again, out of the queer community this came. Because again, you're pushing things onto society that are not really, I'm going to use the word natural. You are so anti-nature. Because you hate yourselves so much that you want the whole rest of us to just flip the script and follow your play, your drama. So don't say tribe. Instead of tribe, say friends, network, family, support system. And the context is, historically used to equate indigenous people with savages. What the hell? Please, white people, stop messing with us. You are not original here. So how you dare come and switch things around because you attended the institution where a lot of fuckery is allowed? Tribal knowledge. Instead of tribal knowledge, say institutional knowledge. This term trivializes the ancestral knowledge handed down through generations of indigenous people. Y'all do not care about indigenous people. You don't, but you love to use indigenous people for your bullshit. Now, the same way you used to love to use black people, still today you use black people when you want to talk about certain things. You use black people always as an example. That's how you used us. You stepped on our necks, literally, to get to your position where today you are just changing things at will. And I'm supposed to just follow blindly, just as my ancestors followed with the language, with the religion and the customs and all the other shit they followed. I'm stepping aside and saying, I'm not participating in this. I'm not going to fill my head with all of this new shit because it's my old brain. It ain't taking in new shit at this point, at this juncture of my life. Instead of saying brave, consider using none, N-O-N-E, or do not use. Because this term perpetuates the stereotype of the noble, courageous savage, equating the indigenous male as being less than a man. I never ever saw that, but that's what they're saying. These people read into things that are not there. Bury the hatchet. Don't say bury the hatchet. Instead say call for peace, call a truce. Using this term is cultural appropriation of a centuries-old tradition among some North American indigenous people who buried their tools of war as a symbol of peace. Well, what the hell? That was a fact. So if they buried the hatchet as a symbol of peace, how the hell you cannot say bury the hatchet? You're the ones who go hashaying people, you know. Wasn't it a white man who hashay? Oh no, look, again, your people, Caucasians and Asians, you're the same. Caucasian took a sword and beheaded a man on a bus, on a Greyhound bus here in Canada. You're the ones doing this craziness. And now they make the Chinese be indigenous. Now they look like all these indigenous people, a lot of these so-called native people, look like they came from Siberia. Go look at the people up there in Russia up there. They look the same native people up here. They just move them, like they move us around. They're always moving and shifting us. They don't know what to do with us because all they want is the land and the resources. They don't want us. And we go along with them. That's the problem. So do not say chief. Instead of chief, say the person's name. Huh? And when the hell do I ever call anybody chief? What the bomber clot? Instead of Geronimo, don't use anything. You only use Geronimo when discussing the historical figure. Geronimo was a famous leader and medicine man whose name is used today as a caricature of the brave warrior, often during macho pursuits. Now you see what they just said, right? The medicine man. The medicine man was the healer. The medicine man took care of the people, healing. Now the medicine man, they only want you to talk about him within context of that. You cannot say Geronimo because that keeps that around. And we are trying to get away from people healing. We want to use our pharmaceuticals. We want to use the drugs. We want to give you drugs. Drugs! We want to give you drugs. We want you to be high on drugs. We want you to take drugs, overdose. Oh, are we allowed to say the word drugs? Who knows? But they want us to stop doing what we do with our healing, using our medicine man. Well, our medicine man is what they call theirs. We are bushman. You go to the bush lady or the bushman, also known as the herbalist. Do not say guru. Instead of guru, say expert, subject matter expert, SME. That's subject matter expert, primary, leader, teacher, guide, right? Instead of just guru, you can use a whole host of other words. In the Buddhist and Hindu traditions, the word is a sign of respect. Using it casually negates its original value. Suddenly they care. All of this time, they started doing this shit, It was them who started calling people gurus. And now, oh, oops, we faux pas, and we're going to make amends by changing every freaking thing that you've learned, that you were forced to learn initially from us. Look at them. Look at them. It's just asinine. Look at their arrogance. So do not say low man on the totem pole. You say lacking seniority, don't have the power or prestige. It trivializes something that is sacred to indigenous people. Also, in some First Nation communities, being low on the totem pole is actually a higher honor than being on top. The term also reinforces male-dominated language. This is, I think, the most silly of all of them. Because if it's supposed to mean, I don't even want to go over that again. That's just so idiotic. Culturally appropriative language misuses terms that hold meaning to a particular culture in a way that often lacks respect or appreciation. But you people who are coming up with this, right? You new black and brown and yellow and pink lesbians, you're the ones tend to care about all that shit. Ah, boy. It's sad. Colonialism is the policy or practice of acquiring full or partial political control over another country, occupying it with settlers and exploiting it economically. It is better to avoid terms that derive from colonialism. Yeah, but it's okay to continue to colonize. It's okay to continue to have U.S. foreign policy dictate for the world. It's okay for the U.S. government to continue to have wars in perpetuity. There's always a war somewhere in the world that is, the source is the U.S. They are dibbling and dabbling in everything. And how sway that Stanford University is the one who is doing this. Do not say retarded. Say boring. Say uncool. This term is a slur against those who are neurodivergent or have a cognitive disability. It should not be used to make a point about a person, place, or thing. Well, I am neurodivergent, aren't I? Do I not have a cognitive disability? Call me retard. Who cares? You call me crazy. You call me nigger. You call me bitch. You call me hoe. You call me all sorts of names. I would not be surprised if you call me the R word as well. And I'm okay. I don't care what anyone calls me anymore. There was a time when your words did have some power. I remember when we reclaimed the word dyke. Man, I loved the hell out of that word. Dyke. Yeah, I'm a dyke. So what? I was crossing the street one day, and a black guy, I started to avoid black males in the streets in Toronto because they did not know ever how to address me. They were always disrespectful, aggressive, and just downright rapey in there. And I don't say I can't use that, because that's how they approach me. It's the vibes, the rapey vibes. I'm not saying that of all black males, because I have brothers who are not like that. Please learn from them. So I was crossing the street, downtown Toronto, and I saw the black guy coming across the street in the opposite direction. What did I do? I learned not to look at the black male in the streets of Toronto. That was then. I was younger, and they were a menace to me and my life. So I learned to not even look their way, because I was involved with women anyway. So I didn't want any penis, because that's all they seem to have to offer me. Either they threaten my life over jewelry, or they want to give me some penis that I don't want. So I never look upon him. I look sideways, I look up, I look down, I look everywhere but at him, because they want you to look at them. I'm not here for that. If I want to look at someone, I'll go to a show. I'll go check a fashion show, a music, or something. I'm not you on the street, please. So whatever I did, he was displeased. I did not look at him. I did not check him out. I did not take him in. I pretended he did not exist, because it's a man in the street, and I treat all men the same. I'm not there for you in the street. And he saw me, and he was so pissed. He says, effing dyke. And he said it with such contempt. He put an extra, muscle in this expression towards me. F you effing. He used the word. He didn't say effing. He used the actual word. Effing dyke. I said, oh, so if I don't pay attention to you, black male, I'm a effing dyke. Well, you sound like you really want to F this dyke, but you ain't gonna get to do that either. So I didn't even address him. I kept walking. I kept moving. But you see, black women like me walking, minding our business in the streets, we are set upon. These guys come and are so disrespectful. I don't know what these black mothers are teaching their sons. But these sons are out there running amok and disturbing our peace. Anywho, do not say sanity check. Instead say confidence check, coherence check, fact check. And fact check could be used against you on FU book. In fact, it's being used possibly now as I speak. This term, sanity check, could be offensive to those dealing with mental health issues. Well, good heavens. If you're dealing with mental health issues, you're gonna require possibly a sanity check. But hey, listen, even me, I may require a sanity check. Oi. Do not say spaz. I never say spaz. I don't believe I've ever used that word. Spaz, instead of spaz, say clumsy. Well, if spaz is clumsy, clumsy is clumsy. You're clumsy, you're clumsy. Shit. Well, do not say clumsy. Do not say spaz. Say clumsy. Because spaz is ableist language that trivializes the experiences of people living with disabilities. Listen, I'm living with disabilities. Sometimes I'm clumsy. God. And that's okay. Stop making it not okay to be clumsy. Don't use the word spaz. Man, you all have too much time, and you know what it is? It's the they give you these, what they call them? You get these grants, you get these financial benefits, right? You get money for doing shit. And you sat down and this is what you did with the money you got. All the monies you get. Donations and whatnots. Ah, boy. So you cannot say stand-up meeting. You got to say quick meeting. Again, ableist language that trivializes the experiences of people living with disabilities. Well, presumably, if there is a stand-up meeting, the people in their wheelchair are sitting in their ass. And that's okay, right? Isn't it okay? At least they get to be in their wheelchair and be present. Jesus Christ. Tone deaf. That tone deaf was used so much. I never used tone deaf, but it was used repeatedly over the years. And guess who was using it? These very MFers. Okay? Now they say instead of using tone deaf, consider using unenlightened. Instead of using walk in, consider using drop in or open office. Instead of using wheelchair, say person who uses a wheelchair. Good heavens. I'm taking this straight off Jimmy Dore's, the Jimmy Dore show on YouTube. I'm just reading. I follow him. I love that guy. Okay? That guy got double jabbed. That guy was voting Democrats until he was one of the few who opened his eyes. He's one of the few who was honest, who was truthful, who was saying, hey, this Democratic Party ain't representing me. And they're doing shit that with which I disagree. And one of the things was after he got his second jab and having adverse effects of it, oh shit, I'm not supposed to talk about it because truth is not welcome here. That's why I'm migrating to Rumble. You cannot say paraplegic. You must say person with a spinal cord injury or person who is paralyzed. This term generalizes a population of people while also implying that people with disabilities are not capable. Do not say OCD. Well, I've been OCD, but apparently that's not okay. I don't care. It's okay with me. OCD, what was originally, obsessive compulsive disorder. It is now you have to say detail oriented. Well, don't say OCD, say detail oriented. You know, all of these very short terms, they were abbreviations of words. Now we got to go into the long form of things. So we're going backwards in time. Because I was also at school taught abbreviation. So instead of saying this, UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. Don't say that. That's too long. Say UNESCO. So they teach us as little children. And then when we get older, that's how they confuse your mind. Mess you up. Ah, boy, oh boy, oh boy. Don't say mentally ill. Say person living with a mental health condition. Okay. Stanford University. Do not say handicap. parking, say accessible parking. Do not say handicapped, say person with a disability. Do not say handicapped space, say accessible space. Do not say insane, say surprising or wild. Do not say lame, say boring or uncool. Oh dear. I think I'm going to stop. Okay. I'm Domina Della Pie. Yes. Instead of saying addict, say person with a substance use disorder. I'm going to really remember that every time. So instead of addict, say person with a substance use disorder. And the context is, well, using person first language helps us not define people by just one of their characteristics. Good Lord. Do not say addicted, say hooked or devoted. Good Lord. I'm hooked on fentanyl. I'm devoted to crystal meth. Good Lord. Do not say basket's case. Instead say nervous. Good Lord. Originally referred to one who has lost all 4 limbs and therefore needed to be carried around in a basket. Instead of saying blind review, say anonymous review. Because saying blind review unintentionally perpetuates that disability is somehow abnormal or negative, furthering an ableist culture. Instead of saying a blind study, say a masked study. Because it unintentionally perpetuates that disability is somehow abnormal or negative, furthering an ableist culture. Do not say committed suicide. You can say died by suicide. Oh my. Rootin', tootin', shootin', putin'. There you have it. From Stanford University bans a long list of harmful, in quotes, words. The Elimination of Harmful Language Initiative, EHLI. EHLI stands for the Elimination of Harmful Language Initiative. It is a multi-phase, multi-year project. Yeah, how many years you been milking off this? How many years you been eating and drinking and I don't know, paying for hookers and whatnot with all of these funds? Because it's a multi-phase, multi-year project to address harmful language in IT at Stanford. EHLI is one of the actions prioritized in the Statement of Solidarity and Commitment to Action, which was published by the Stanford CIOC. That is, CIOC is the CIO Council, and People of Color in Technology, POC-IT Affinity Group, in December 2020. Good Lord. No, they got a lot of money out of that. The goal of the Elimination of Harmful Language Initiative is to eliminate many forms of harmful language, including racist. You know, racist is the first one they like to use. Nobody cares about us. So don't tell me you care and by including racist in this shit. It's not had anything to do with race. It's about your sexuality, your sexual habits. It's more about that than it is about race. Stop using race. You all always use race. All of you at the freaking university, all of you getting your education, you love to use race. I'm the dark complected person most affected by your racist policies, your racist activity, your racial mindset. You're racist. And you continue to be. Just by the fact that you are using racist first. Like you care. When we know damn well you don't give a shit. So, the goal of the Elimination of Harmful Language Initiative is to eliminate many forms of harmful language, including racist, violent, and biased. Example: disability bias, ethnic slurs, gender bias, implicit bias, sexual bias. Language in Stanford websites and code. The purpose of this website is to educate people about the possible impact of the words we use. Language affects different people in different ways. We're not attempting to assign levels of harm to the terms of this site. On the term levels of harm to the terms on this site. We also are not attempting to address all informal uses of language. Oh yeah, just the ones that affect you, alphabet community, right? This website focuses on potentially harmful terms used in the United States, starting with a list of everyday language and terminology. Our suggested alternatives are in line with those used by peer institutions and within the technology community. The Elimination of Harmful Language Initiative. Yeah, from Stanford University. A walk-in office hours or walk-up support hours. A person who uses a wheelchair can't walk in or walk up, so consider using open office hours or on-site support hours. You know, I don't totally disagree with all of this. It's just the way that they spring it on us. And it's like I'm back in school learning, and some of the stuff is not that serious, honestly. You all like to make big things out of little things. What is really, honestly, the thing that we ought to care about is really the racism. Because every one of you is racist. That also includes the black people. I know you are the same people who say black people can't be racist, but I have met many black people who hate me because I'm black, when they will love a person more than me because they're not black. All of you black people loving off your light skins, your light bright, your mixed race, don't you love them? You're inviting all of these people who are not even black into black communities. Look at Cardi B. Cardi B, not black, baby. Not black. Honestly, stop it. Stop it. Black people, wake the hell up so that we are not always being railroaded and like just we're being pulled around all corners and all sides, up and down, back and forth. We don't even know who we are because there they are at the university trying to tell us, dictate to us who we are, and that when we say who we are, they're there to correct us because, you know, they're the experts, they're the professionals, they're the educated ones, and of course they know better than we do. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, subscribe, comment or not, it's all good. I'm Domina Della Pie, Mistress Sasha Storm. You better learn these terms or you'll be left behind. Thank you. Good day.